There are an insane amount of shorters right now trying to suppress Bitcoin. I like to remind you guys, just 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago, Bitcoin was at 72,000. Okay. And right now, yes, we're stuck at like 65,000, but still, things can move very quickly. I can't imagine the confidence that these shorters have. Right now, just to get back to 70,000, which could come in like an hour, there is $1.7 billion worth of short positions. 1.7 billion just to get back to 70. Getting back to 72 is probably 4 or 5 billion. These guys are all playing with fire. They're all looking to get liquidated because we know Bitcoin moves very, very quickly, suddenly, unexpectedly, and we could be at 70K in an hour. I just can't believe how many shorts there are right now that are piling up. But for us who are long on Bitcoin, this is a great thing. I'm waiting for them to get liquidated. I'm waiting for the short squeezes to drive us to a new high, which is coming. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when, and it is going to come. Now, something else that's fantastic for Bitcoin is this. Miner reserves drops to 14-year low. 14-year low. Going back to 2010. That's almost to the very beginning. Bitcoin was released in 2009, and miner reserves are back down to February of 2010. Take a second to think about that. Now, I can only speculate why this has happened. There's two reasons. Number one, some of these miners are selling because this halving event has been very tough on them. Number one. Number two, they have sold such an enormous amount to the ETFs, right? The $80 billion that's in Bitcoin ETFs, where did that come from? Not all of it from Coinbase and Kraken. I think a lot of it came from the miners too. They are buying directly from the miners. So I think because of these two reasons, the reserves have dropped to 14-year low. That is absolutely crazy. And this also kind of correlates with this. Right now, if you could see on the very right side, long-term holder whales realized profit in USD, there are a lot of selling right now with the old whales. $1.2 billion in the last 2 weeks. But guess who some of the old whales are? Yeah, that's right, the miners, right? So I think the biggest reason why we have been seeing choppiness or slowness, or you could say even the dump that we have seen in the last 2 weeks, probably came from the whales, right? But again, there's different definition. I mean, there's different categories of whales, but more importantly, I think it's the miners. And it makes a whole lot of sense. The smaller miners, they can't compete with the bigger miners. A lot of them are capitulating, meaning they're selling because they have no other choice. It's not profitable for them. And some miners are selling because, of course, they want to expand because the Bitcoin network is not slowing down. It's only getting more difficult. The hash rate continues to go upwards. Difficulties continues to go upwards. So it makes sense. They need to sell to buy more equipment and expand operations. So that's what's happening. But guess what? It has happened before. We have seen periods like this before, and then eventually stops. And guess what happens? The buying continues, and Bitcoin goes higher and forms a new high, like it always does. But I think this is the biggest reason why a lot of people have noted that, well, you know, a couple weeks ago, we had such large amounts of ETF inflows. How come Bitcoin didn't go up? Well, this probably explains it, right? If you want to comment on anything I've said in this video, make sure you head over to the Roundtable. The Roundtable is a new social media platform created for conversations. And best of all, it's spam-free, bot-free, unlike here on YouTube. And you could have conversations with me and others like Altcoin Daily, Scott Melker, Mauro Nafal, and many others are joining daily. And you also get rewarded in tokens for doing so. So check out the new roundtable. Click the link in the description below. But nevertheless, we will get through it. And like I said many times, Bitcoin's price really is determined by two things: supply and demand. Like all things, supply and demand. Supply is dropping, like I've been showing you guys, and demand is going up. Okay. Australia now gets a spot Bitcoin ETF. So that's fantastic. Hong Kong has it, Canada has it, US has it, and more countries are looking to list it. Okay? So again, demand is going to surge. It's not going to stop. More and more institutions and public trade companies and retail investors and anyone in between, they are all looking to load up on Bitcoin. So demand is only going to do this. Like the hockey stick. It's like this, and then it's going to go like this straight up to the moon. And demand, and supply, I should say, is going to diminish. There's only so many Bitcoin to go around, right? Especially when you got like Michael Saylor that's treating Bitcoin as if it was a scarce commodity. It is. But he's the only one that kind of really understands it at this point, or at least he's acting like he understands it, because he just continues to buy Bitcoin at an alarming rate. No one else has this kind of urgency. Only Michael Saylor does. He said he was going to raise another $500 million. That became $700 million. And then it became $800 million. So he just raised $800 million not too long ago and immediately purchased almost another 12,000 Bitcoin, okay, for $786 million. Now Microstrategy holds 226,000 Bitcoin at an average price of $37,000. And he will continue to buy and buy and buy and buy some more, because that's what he does and he understands. Imagine one day when Bitcoin is at $1 million each. That is a lot. What is that? $22 trillion if Bitcoin becomes 1 million? Is that what it is? That would be billion, or 226 trillion. That's crazy. Imagine holding, I can't do the math there, but I'm going to pull out my calculator so I don't look stupid. Let's times that by 1 million. If Bitcoin goes to 1 million, it would be 226 trillion. That's what it is. Trillion with the T. That is insane. Okay. In 10 years or 15 years or even 20 years. I think Saylor was to be around. MicroStrategy could be holding $226 trillion worth of Bitcoin.